Welcome to the Tech and Accent podcast.
Here you learn about being an expat, working abroad, technology, and more from non-native English speakers. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the first episode of Tech and Accent. I'm really happy to have here Walmyr, that is gonna be the host with myself. So the first episode is when I interview Walmyr, and the second he's gonna interview me. So today I will start doing some questions to Walmyr. He also will do some questions to me in the end. As you can see, I have some mistakes in English. I have my accent, and we are doing this because we want to show to people that everyone has accent and everyone can talk in English. So welcome to our real life. It's not perfect, and we are happy to be here. How are you doing, Walmyr?
I'm doing very good. Thanks for inviting me. I'm super happy with this initiative of yours, and I'm looking forward to interviewing you as well and other guests.
And I don't know you, but I'm a bit nervous, and I think it's nice because it seems that we care for what we are doing. And I think as we did our episode in Portuguese, we had a lot of mistakes. I think it's not going to be different here. And let's try to help the world by sharing our backgrounds, by sharing our stories. So how about you could introduce yourself for people that doesn't know you?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Walmyr. I am Brazilian from the south of Brazil, from a city called Porto Alegre. I'm a person that is passionate about sharing knowledge. I am also a QA engineer. I have been working as a quality assurance engineer since 2004, so almost 20 years working in the field. And in terms of sharing knowledge, I do have a blog called Talking About Testing, also a YouTube channel called Talking About Testing as well. Together with Alekson, we have a podcast called Testando na Gringa, which is testing abroad. I also have an online school where I teach mostly Cypress, which is a framework for test automation of web applications. And more to the personal side of me, I am a person who loves vegan food. I'm vegan. I love tattoos. As you can see in my arms, I have quite some of them, and I have in other parts of my body as well. I love gardening, and my favorite sport is skateboarding.
That's awesome. I wish I could do skateboarding. I think I'm a bit old to learn again, but I tried when I was a kid. And
I actually started skateboarding when I was already 21 or 22, so I wasn't that young when I started. And I would say that it's still possible to learn if you want. It's just about practice, as everything in life.
Yeah, I think I would prioritize surf, but skate is something I would like to learn too. Yeah. And talking about this, especially doing sports, you said about your story, but you didn't tell us where you live. So if you could tell us where are you located today?
And yeah, sure.
How was your... Also tell us a bit, today I am here, but I'm coming from this place and all the journey.
Yeah, so I live in Barcelona, Spain. I've been living here for around 1 year and a half, more or less. But before that, I was living in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands. I lived there for 4 years. And before that, I lived in Oslo, in Norway, which is the capital of Norway. I lived there for almost 2 years. And before that, I was in Brazil. So in 2016, I decided with my wife that we wanted to move abroad. And I applied for some positions, and Norway was the country that chose us. We lived there for a while. It was kind of hard for my wife to get a job there as a marketeer, because in the Nordics, if you don't speak a Nordic language, it's very hard to work as a marketeer. So at some point we decided to move to the Netherlands because it's more international. When we arrived there, my wife got a job in the third week, and I got a job as well. And then we lived there for quite a while, but we kind of got, I wouldn't say bored, but it was difficult to live in the north of Europe because of three main things. One of them was the weather, which is completely different than what we were used to in Porto Alegre and in Florianopolis, where we lived as well in Brazil. The languages, so Norwegian is a very beautiful language, but it's hard. I do speak a little bit of Norwegian, but I can't communicate with anyone in Norwegian. I just can introduce myself and that kind of thing. And the Dutch is a very difficult language as well, which I didn't have the chance to learn. And the third thing that made us move from the Netherlands to Spain was the culture. So we missed a warmer culture, a Latin culture. So in here we have the three things that we like in terms of a good weather. Barcelona is like in the Mediterranean, so it's like very, very good weather. It's not very cold in the winter. It's not very warm in the summer. We do speak Spanish, so it's a language that we can communicate with anyone. And what was the third one? It's the language, the weather, and the culture. Yeah, and the culture, of course. Like we live amongst Latin people. There are lots of expats in here. So because we have like people from all Latin America in here in Spain.
Do you have a lot of Brazilians with you?
Yeah, a lot of Brazilians. Today, actually, we met with a couple of friends who are also from Porto Alegre, and there are quite a big Brazilian community in here.
You were speaking something, and I remember about the ritual I'm doing every day. So in the morning, I'm starting to remember 3 moments I'm grateful for, and also 3 goals that I want to achieve. I'm doing this every day and other parts of the ritual. But by the way, one of the moments that I was grateful today was the conference that we went together in Brazil in 2015, the Agile Testers, because I met you there. You were speaking, and this is to share to the people. So Walmyr was speaking Agile Testers conference in Brazil. I was there to learn, so I started following him, and after that he moved to Norway. And in that moment I was also tired of living in Brazil, so I thought, okay, one day I wanted to live abroad, and Norway was one of the places I would like to go. In the end, who chose me was Canada, so today I'm in Canada. But Walmyr was an inspiration for me in the past, and Norway was also one dream that I didn't do.
Although we, like my wife, didn't have the chance to work in her field in Norway, we pretty much liked living there, and the nature there is beautiful. It's a really nice country, which I think if you have the chance to visit at some point in your life, you should, because it's great. And one other thing that I wanted to mention regarding your ritual is that my wife and I, for 3 or 4 years, I don't remember exactly because we have been doing this for a while already, we have a ritual as well. Today is the day of the ritual. It's 1 day per week, which is usually the Sunday, which is called the Pot of Gratitude. So every Sunday at 9:30, we remember the things we are grateful for in the week, and we write in a piece of paper, and then we put in a box. And in the end of the year, we do a retrospective where we open them all and we read them all and remember all the things that we are grateful. So I think it's really nice to do some kind of ritual like that.
I like the idea. I think my wife is gonna like if I suggest it at home.
Yeah.
I know you spoke a bit of hobbies in your introduction,
Hmm.
but now that you spoke all your history and your journey, do you have any hobbies? Like in Canada, some people like ski. I don't. How about you? What are your main hobbies?
I would say, yeah, I do have a few hobbies. I love listening to music. I love skateboarding. I don't do as much skateboarding as I wanted in here because in Barcelona, where I live, it's more flat. And in Brazil, I used to do more of downhill skateboarding with longboarding. Um, but I do skateboard at least to go to places. If I can, I pick my skateboard and I go. I like reading. I like being with my family, which is my wife and our cat. And what else? Like being around, like I like being around friends as well. I think that those are the hobbies that I can remember for now.
And I guess you like football. I almost said soccer, but it's not the
I like
correct.
soccer as well, for sure. I like to watch soccer. I used to play when I was a kid and when I was a teenager, but I always liked as well basketball. So during school, I used to play basketball more than soccer, but with my friends, I used to play soccer a lot. Nowadays, I only watch soccer games from the Brazilian championships.
That's pretty similar to what I do in my story too. Talking about all these and like personal life, professional life,
Mhm.
do you have a big achievement that you are proud of?
I would say one achievement that I am really proud of is the number of students I have nowadays on my online school. I think I reached 15,000 students on Udemy or something like that. And it's not just about the number, but about being able to help that amount of people, because I am their teacher, let's say, in quotes, and they are learning a lot from me. And many of my students, they come to me through LinkedIn, for instance, and they tell me, Walmyr, I loved your course. I learned a lot. I was able to pass in an interview because I went through your course, or I got a new job because your course helped me out, or I got a promotion because I learned something that you were able to teach me, and not only on my course, but also on my YouTube channel and my blog. So yeah, I'm very proud of achieving that number. I intend to grow it even more and help even more people, but this is something I'm really proud of.
Yeah, and I did the protractor courses and I read the book and it was really helpful. Thanks for that.
Yeah, it's nice to remember that I teach protractor in the past, because nowadays I've been teaching Cypress quite a lot. I don't even remember the courses that I did previously, but yeah, it was the beginning.
Yeah, I still miss protractor because I think it changed the industry. Or I don't know, I have a special, I like that. And I don't see this in Cypress and Playwright anymore. Of course, the tools are better now,
Mm-hmm.
but my feeling about protractor is special. This is what I mean.
I see. Yeah, I had a very good feeling about the tool as well when I started using it and when I started teaching about it, because I felt it was so much easier than other tools that I was used to use before. But nowadays that I am specialized in Cypress and teaching this tool, I like it even more. So yeah, maybe at some point you get to this point as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm feeling a bit an interviewer in our Portuguese podcast. It's not like that.
Yeah.
But in the next episode, it's gonna be your turn, so be prepared.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
you talked about teaching. How about learning? So, or not only learning, but being in a position that you have 3 people that are some influencers that you would like to have a dinner. Who would be the 3 ones?
If I could have dinner with 3 influential people, who would they be?
Yeah.
One of them is a friend of mine who is called Alekson, which is you, actually, because you mentioned in the beginning that we met in 2015 at the Agile Testers conference, but at that time you met me, but I haven't spoken to you actually. So I would love to have dinner with you because we've been friends and partners in our other podcast, and I even mentored you as well. But we never had the chance to meet face to face. So I would love to have dinner with you. And the other 2 people would not actually be from the tech industry. I mentioned in the beginning that I like listening to music, and I am very eclectic in terms of music. I like from bossa nova to rock and roll to rap and to, I like music, all genres of music. And if I had the chance to have dinner with some people, I would love to have dinner with, or a coffee or a beer with Black Alien and also with Criolo, which are my favorite Brazilian rappers. I love Brazilian rap, and I think their lyrics really touch me because they talk about important things in our society, especially in Brazil, and they are very influential in the way I think. So I would love to have a dinner with them.
Yeah,
I hope you can manage to me having dinner with them.
I would like to, and I'm not a rapper fan. I like, but I'm not someone that knows the lyrics and etc. But I'm always open to learn, and I kind of saw some documentaries and I learned a lot. Things like, oh, this music is from Eminem. I didn't know, but I knew the song, so
yeah.
I'm always open to learn. And thanks
if
for
I could suggest
mention.
a documentary, Racionais MCs, they have a documentary on Netflix, which is just awesome, which is another rap band that I pretty much like. It's really nice to learn about their history and about what the music that they sing really mean. It's really interesting.
I'm gonna watch, and I will let you know what I thought. So in this podcast, we have an idea of having a classic question for every episode. And it's the most embarrassing moment of every participant in the podcast. How about yours?
So when I read the question, it was kind of hard to remember the most embarrassing moment because I really didn't remember a very embarrassing moment. But then I remembered one that was a little bit embarrassing, so it was not the most embarrassing. Probably there is something that I don't remember. But when I lived to Norway, in my first day at work at whereby.com, we were in a meeting room with a big table and all the team together there to introduce the new people that have just joined the company. So I joined the company and another guy from sales joined the company at the same day. And I was seated and he stood up and started shaking hands with everyone. And when he reached me, he gave me his hand to shake and he said, Borga. And I told him, sorry, I don't speak Norwegian. And he said, Borga is my name. So it was kind of funny. it was not very embarrassing, but I thought he was speaking Norwegian with me.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
And how about the future? Do you have any special goals that you have in mind for the future?
I don't have like anything very special, but for almost I was able to in 2019 or 20 to take a sabbatical to focus on my personal projects. And at that time, I was able to grow a lot the number of courses that I teach, the number of students that I have, and afterwards I came back to work for an employer, and then I moved to Spain to work for a company as well, and then I decided that, you know what, I pretty much liked that year that I was able to focus only on my personal projects, which is like online courses, content creation, and mentoring and consulting and that kind of thing. So for the future, what I intend to do is continuing focusing on those projects, which means launching new courses that will help people achieve their dreams in their career, teaching about technology. I am very technical person, so my courses, they are very technical, so I intend to launch new courses next year probably. I intend to continue doing content on YouTube, which is one of the things that I like the most nowadays. It's kind of funny because my wife, she used to tell me, you should do lives on YouTube, and I used to say, I don't know. And in 3 years ago, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna start doing it, and I'm gonna do one just as an experiment. When I did it, I pretty much liked it, and I never stopped it. So maybe next year I will do even more than I have been doing. I intend to write more as well. My blog was a good way to express the things that I was learning, to document the things that I was learning. The person that uses my blog post is myself, but it's really nice that it's there in the internet so other people can consume it as well. So I intend to, I don't have any like big goals for the future, but I intend to continue doing what I have been doing and try to professionalize it even more, because my goal for my life is to not depend on an employer and to have different streams of revenue. So nowadays, for instance, I finally got to a place where I have a few streams of revenue. So I have like my courses, I have my sponsor of my YouTube channel, I have like the ads from YouTube as well. Sometimes I do some freelancing, sometimes I do some consulting, sometimes I do also mentoring. But the one that scales is online courses. And this is something that I want to focus even more, because I think it's important that if you want to go by yourself and do your own business, you have to find something that scales, because we have a limited capacity. So these are kind of my plans for the future at the moment.
A lot of big goals, and congrats for all the work you have been doing. It's
Thank
inspiring.
you very much.
We're almost in the end of this episode. There is 2 questions that I would like to do. One is if there is a question that you think I should answer.
Yeah.
This is the first.
Yeah. The question that I would like you to answer is the same that you asked me, actually. If you had the chance to meet and have dinner with 3 influential people, who would they be?
Oh, I didn't think about this, and it was a surprise when you mentioned myself in your dinner. I would say the same for you, having you and 2 people. I think Paul McCartney would be one, and I think the second one would be Tony Robbins, because I'm really into Tony Robbins now since I did the
Yeah,
the seminar. Is it 3 or 4? 3?
it's 3. Yeah, I like that
Yeah,
you picked Paul McCartney. I kind of have. I think Paul McCartney is vegan as well, and or his daughter. They have even, I think his daughter has a vegan brand of vegan food, which I have tried already, and it's pretty good. So I like the your choice.
Yeah, he's really a big advocate in the world for
Yeah.
stop eating meat. Tony Robbins was vegan too. I think he stopped, but in the course I learned that when I eat meat from big companies, kind of not the best way of treating animals, and what they eat too is not good. Like they give bad food for the animals to get big.
Mm.
So now I'm trying to eat clean sources of meat
Yeah.
that is much better from what I was doing before. So would be for sure a vegan dinner with these 3 invitations that I would do.
Exactly. Awesome.
And the last question is not kind of a question, but it is a question. Okay, give us a final message for the people that are watching and listening to this episode.
Yeah. So since this podcast is called Tech and Accent, and as far as I understood, is for people that are afraid of their accent and they work in technology, that they are afraid of making mistakes. My final message is practice, as you would with anything that you want to learn. So if you want to learn a sport, you would have to practice this sport many times. If you want to learn an instrument, you would have to play the instrument as much as you could, so you would get better and better. And the same with a language. So I would say read in English, write in English, listen to music and read the lyrics. And even if you think you can't read a book in English, read a book in English with a dictionary beside to, understand the words that you don't know. Listen to people, listen to this podcast so you get the practice of listening, and especially try to, like, people sometimes they feel okay with reading and writing and listening, but they get blocked when speaking. So speak in English as well. Find a teacher, find a group of people who are interested in some topic that you were interested as well, and practice, because the more you practice, the better you get, and the better you get, you are not going to be afraid anymore, and you are going to be okay that you have your accent, and people understand you. You don't have to be afraid of that. So that would be my final message.
This message reminds me the goals that I have for my languages, especially French right now, that is being fluent with mistakes, not being fluent anymore. Because I used to think I want to be fluent, but even in Portuguese I do a lot of mistakes, so why in English or in French I have to speak fluently without mistakes? So thanks for sharing that message.
The same with Spanish. Like, I do speak English, I think, better than I do speak Spanish, but I'm not afraid of speaking Spanish, because it's a language that I pretty much like. So I read a lot in Spanish, and I try to talk to people in Spanish as well, and I get what people say. So it's about not being afraid, and about trying and failing and learning, and then trying again.
Nice and really good advice. Also, I have a final message that is, if you are listening or watching this episode and you speak English, or you have courage to come and speak, please send me a message to be here. We are here to help the community. So sharing knowledge, sharing how we speak to eliminate the syndrome of speaking another language, to eliminate the fear of the community, because I realized that in Brazil we have a lot of talents and they are afraid of speaking English because they think they have to be perfect. So my English today is much better than when I came to Canada. It's been 5 years I've been living in Canada, so it improved a lot. But still, it's 5 years and I still do mistakes, and that's it. That's fine. And also, it's an opportunity to show to people that we meet in another country that doesn't speak Portuguese or doesn't speak Spanish. We can send a link. Okay, here is the podcast that I recorded. It's in English. If you want to know myself, you can watch this. So this is a nice opportunity for the people that are coming to this podcast.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Walmyr, for your time today, for sharing all your background. And see you in the next episode.
Thank you for having me.
This podcast was produced by Ralf Carneiro.